Welcome to a Triton training video. This is one of our tutorial videos, and it's focused on people that are going to be connecting their Triton to a hardwired Ethernet network. And this part one is how to set up the access to the web interface. Even though we have tried to make the front panel of the Triton as easy as possible to use, with the large bright display and the many keys on the full keypad and navigator, we think the web interface is even easier to use. So if you can, you might want to set up access to the Triton's web interface. Fortunately, there are many ways to do that. The most conventional method is with an Ethernet cable connecting the Triton controller to the local area network of the building. To access the web interface, you'll need to get 3 and hopefully 4 addresses from the IT department of the building. 3 of those, the static IP address, gateway, and mask, would allow you to have access inside the building on the LAN or local area network. The 4th address would be punched through the firewall to give you remote access. So let's look at how we would use those 3 static addresses from the IT department using the front panel menus of the Triton to set up the access to the web interface. I'm already logged in, so you didn't have to watch me put in my password. We're headed for the next to last menu, Network Config. And then we'll go over to the COM or Communication Settings, then to the Local Area Network or LAN IP Setup, then over and down to where the static addressing settings are. And the first address we'll put in is the static IP address. You can see our default value, 192.168.0.100. And then we'll put the address in given to us by the IT department. Both the 192.168 and the 10.domain addresses, they both indicate an internal address behind a firewall. You won't see those addresses out on the World Wide Web. We also have to change the static subnet mask address. We were given a fairly standard value from the IT department, but it is a little different from our default. So we've got that in there. And lastly, the gateway address. Again, there's our default, but we got a different address from the IT department. And I'm using the magic of video editing so that you don't have to watch me type in these addresses. There we go. So now we've set up the 3 addresses. However, we do have to activate static addressing. Move down to the typical Triton menu activator that begins with the word use, and then just press enter so that it gets the active box. And now we have activated the static addressing that we set up. So that's about it. It's time to press the home key to save our changes. Then if there was a power failure, we wouldn't lose the settings we made. And we're all set. That's how you set up your Triton on a hardwired Ethernet network to set up local area access. If you were lucky, they gave you that 4th address that they punched through the firewall, and you would use that in your web browser to access the web interface outside of the building. Sometimes it can be difficult to convince the IT department to punch an address through their firewall. They consider it a security problem. But if they have even one address punched through, you can do something called port mapping, using one of the 35,000 ports on the existing address and have that mapped to the Triton's web interface. But now, let's look in a web browser at how you would use that internal address to access the web interface. Just use your favorite browser, and there's the address we put in earlier, 10.11.50.87. And then notice you have to add /default.asp. But that would give you access to the Triton's web interface that you see in the background. Type in a password and you're ready to go. Well, it was just that easy to set up the hardwired Ethernet access to Triton's web interface. We do have part 2, shows you how to use the front panel menus to set up your emails, data download, and alarm. But this one is done. Let's put a big green check on it. Thank you for watching.